They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
Das war Nummer 1.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation. Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Schauen wir mal, wie es weitergeht.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
That's interessant.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
Ich schau mir die Navigation
I'll check
an.
the navigation array.
Jetzt mit dem Tricorder. Kann ich Sachen schalten? Ah, ja, da. Basis. Deep Scan.
Navigation array checks out, so it must be a coil.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Ooh, Miranda.
Hey, going planet side?
Yep, as soon as the negotiating team comes down from the bridge. And you've got your hands full, opening every compartment on this shuttle. I hope you're not just trying to keep busy to avoid thinking about some other things. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. And lucky for you, I've got a ride to catch.
Well, this is important work. On an important shuttle.
Important work.
The ambassadors.
Ah. I won't tell Spock you're digging through his things.
Das ist
Hey,
nett, dass
Varys.
sie es nicht verrät.
Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari.
Hallo,
That
Spock.
another one of the captain's railroad things?
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole, steam engines were the warp drives of their day part. Catch y'all later.
Ja,
You
wollen
don't
wir
wanna
nicht
miss your
hoffen, dass die
train.
hier einen auf Redshirt machen, die Kollegen von der Sicherheit.
I do have to go. So, you've had time to think. You have something you want to say to me? The train is leaving the station.
Ach komm,
I'd like to know what I'm coming back to.
Jawohl.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was.
Save some of that for when I get back.
You've got a deal.
Okay.
Be seeing you.
Oh.
Etzelarda Diaz. If you could float back down to reality, we still
Ja,
have a
ja,
ways to go.
okay. Ist ja schon klar.
All right, where were we?
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it.
So, jetzt werden wir mal härtere Geschütze
Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out false data, we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Running now.
Na gut, dann lasst uns mal sehen, was da so drauf ist.
Same. Warp field inversion and a cascade failure. However, the Resolute computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
Boop, boop.
Error in warp field calculation. Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure returned non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Wait, what if we use a different ship?
Put the Resolute into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Gute
Computer,
Idee.
give me manual control on the warp power.
Static field intensity, warp 1.1. 1.2. 3. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
Whado?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us. The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Ah, jetzt wird's interessant. Also wir haben keinen Warp, um hier wegzufliegen. Schöne Gegend. Bisschen felsig.
Ambassador Spock, Captain Solano, welcome
Okay,
to
das sind
Hotari.
jetzt die Eines, die
We are
Hotari.
honored you have come. My name is Tylos Altaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The honor is ours. And this is Commander Jara Rydek, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Illydians.
Oh, wow, ist
We've
Smalltalk.
traveled a very long way to get here.
I know. We cannot express how much it means to the Hotari people that
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation. The reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But, either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Citron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Ah, Anführer der Revolte. Interessant, dass die auch da sind. Gut, sind die. Oh ja, schon ein bisschen fancy hier.
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
If you'll excuse me.
Sehr sympathisch gleich hier eingeführt.
I think we're about to begin.
Did you hear the arrogance from that guy? I don't know what we're walking into here, but that guy was something.
Something about his tone tells me this won't be easy.
That was my sense as well.
I doubt he speaks for all of Hotari. So I would urge patience until we speak with their queen.
Wir haben eine Königin. Bin mal gespannt. So, ganz schicker Thronsaal hier. Ein bisschen Harntreiben mit dem Geplätscher. Okay, Spock verbeugt sich. Der Captain nicht so wirklich. Ich verbeuge mich mal. Ich bin ja auch nicht der Captain, ich bin ja ein bisschen niedriger. Und sie ist schließlich eine Königin.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Hotari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to
Evaluate the
Hotari people
arguments.
and their queen, but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Können wir gleich mal gucken, wenn wir schon alles getroffen haben. Also kurz zwischendurch. Was ist das Spock? Schauen wir mal. Okay, also da ändert sich in den Farben nichts, man muss es wirklich durchlesen. Der knabbert noch ein bisschen daran, dass wir uns widersetzt haben. Hm? Ist auch dankbar. Lieutenant Commander Joek. Der sieht es kritisch.
Let's get on with it,
So,
shall
jetzt gehen wir
we?
aber zurück zur Königin.
With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Elydian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war.
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken. What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
Saying this wouldn't be easy was an understatement. I thought they wanted us here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
Oh, die ist
And
feinfühlig.
what about the Kobliad?
Der Kobliad.
She's not
She
part
can speak for herself, can't she? Then let her.
Okay. Jetzt gucken natürlich alle irgendwie ein bisschen so. Was macht denn die da?
Now then, what is your name?
Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty.
Being a Kobliad, you would know better than anyone. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is
Die
unforgivable.
Cardassianer, dieser Konflikt, der ist schon nicht ohne.
Not unlike how we have been treated by the Alydians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Alydians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours.
Quiet! If after all the Kobliad suffered, you finally had the chance to right that wrong, to get out from under their control, would you take it? Or would you negotiate a peace?
There is no remedy for what the Kobliad suffered. And I fear who we might have become in pursuit of it. There is no justice if the oppressed become the oppressor.
Ein sehr guter Punkt.
So I would willingly accept a peaceful resolution if it were offered. That is the real opportunity.
Ich glaube, Spock gefällt das.
Perhaps, Commander Rydek. Perhaps. Unfortunately, that was not the case, was it?
No, it was not.
Peace is often elusive to those who need
ist sehr
it
flüchtig,
most.
der Frieden.
The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Oh, spricht sie das direkt an.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
As Ambassador Spock has said, we've come seeking a peaceful resolution to this conflict, and have no interest in your dilithium.
I'm not nearly as naive as you must think. The Federation has done business with the Illydians for decades, which makes me question your motives.
Okay, sie hinterfragt unsere
What they
Beweggründe
haven't said,
natürlich.
but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without Lydian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
Treachery.
That is enough of your lies.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. Don't tell me. Who deserves control of the dilithium
spitzt sich
trade
das
and
aber
the
zu.
mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Alydians? It can only be one or the other, not both.
Ja, die Hotari.
If I have to choose only one,
Weil es ist ja schließlich
then
ihr
it
Mond.
would have to be the Hotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
This is an outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
The mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We will take back our minds by any means
Oh, das
necessary.
klingt nicht gut. Ach du Scheiße.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
Viele Köche verderben den Brei. Kennt man
I
ja.
suppose there is some sense to that. I hope we meet again, Jara Rydek.
Ja, sie hat sich meinen Namen gemerkt, die Königin. Das ist nobel. Aber der Captain ist jetzt nicht unzufrieden anscheinend, wie ich das gemacht habe.
Spock and I will cover everything on the diplomatic front. You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers.
Ja, ich muss jetzt hier so ein bisschen
We need to
socialisen.
find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war.
Das ist tatsächlich interessant. Warum sind die
What
so
happened to those
konfrontativ?
mines?
Okay, also. Hallo.
The captain and ambassador have it handled.
Ja.
I've got my own mission.
I'm on a mission. Der sieht aber auch ja, schon krass aus. So. Ah, ich muss auch mal anzeigen lassen. So, da kann ich rausgucken.
Such rough terrain. No wonder the Hotari are so tough.
Da ist der
That
Mond,
must be
wenn's
Tau.
geht.
The place it all started. An Elydian warship, the Zeldi. They must want the Hotari to know they can use it at any time. But why haven't they?
Okay, sie haben noch nicht angegriffen. Gute Frage. Das sind hier verschiedene Abordnungen. Ich schaue mich erstmal so ein bisschen um hier. Schauen wir uns das doch mal an, dieses Banner.
They seem proud of their culture. Pride can lead to rash action.
Okay, das scheint nicht wichtig zu sein. Was kann ich da angucken? Oh, man kann sogar laufen. Das ist gut.
Soothing.
Okay, dann quatschen wir mal ein bisschen mit denen. Ach, das ist der Aufständische hier. Dann reden wir mal mit dem.
Commander, I'm glad you've chosen to side with the Hotari. I knew the Federation would see through the Elydians' baseless claims and protect the interests
Da
of my
muss ich gleich
people.
mal so
To be clear, I'm not on either side of this conflict.
gleich mal
Our
klarstellen.
only interest is peace.
I will keep that in mind.
I assume you were there the day the mines were seized from the Elydians.
Not seized, reclaimed, and restored to their rightful owners. Yes, I was there. We had to be decisive, before the Elydians could even realize their worst nightmare was upon them.
Da frage ich ihn
I'm
nochmal.
curious why the Elydians haven't fought back. They have the ability to retake the mines anytime they want.
Ability is one thing, courage is another. The Elydians know any hostile action on their part will not end well. They respect one thing above all else, and that is force. The greater the force, the more certain the outcome.
Okay.
Any talk of making peace is just that, and worth little without the strength to secure it. which makes me wonder about your ship, the Resolute. Undoubtedly the Federation's finest warship. Ready to contend with anything the Illydians might have in store.
Möchte er mich ausfragen?
Or is that not true? Maybe I've misjudged it.
I wouldn't say state of the art, but the Resolute is plenty capable and can hold its own against just about anything.
Let's hope so. Because at the moment, it's the only thing preventing them from wiping us off the map.
Sidron.
A pleasure meeting you, Commander. I'm sure we'll cross paths
Okay, das ist natürlich elegant, dass man ihn dann jetzt entfernt, aber... Ja, das war jetzt schon... Ein bisschen was hat man rausgehört. So. Jetzt haben wir mal ihn hier.
Commander Rydek,
Sie.
I'm encouraged to see the Federation supporting my people. I'm afraid of what might happen without your help.
If anyone deserves thanks, it's Ambassador Spock. No one is more invested in negotiating a peaceful settlement to this conflict than he is.
I'm so glad. We need his help before the situation escalates further than it already has. It's been very trying. I saw you speaking with Sidron, our national hero. I'm curious, what did he say?
He seems to be of the opinion that negotiating for peace is a waste of time.
Because force is the only blunt instrument he understands. He's a miner, not a diplomat.
Oh.
For the first time in our history, the Hotari have the upper hand. We see ourselves as strong instead of downtrodden. New voices have risen up. Old voices shouted down. Galvin and Sidron have become national heroes. Now, they have the Queen's ear. Better or worse, depending on your perspective.
I get the sense you don't exactly trust them.
I don't trust their instincts, which are leading us to war. My fear has been that the Illydians will launch an attack and crush us. You've seen their starship, no doubt. They could have retaken the mines whenever they wanted to, but it never happened. And as strange as this may sound, I'd almost say they're afraid. I just don't know what they're afraid of.
Da ist die Frage.
It's still the same bluster and bravado you would expect from them. But it has no teeth. Like they're afraid of what might happen.
Do you think it has something to do with the Ion Storm? Right now, it's stronger than ever, isn't it?
It's entirely possible. I'm not a scientist, but I do know the storm has knocked out all kinds of systems. So maybe the Illydians weren't willing to risk their ships, given all the interference. Since the day of the revolt, Galvin has seized control of the mines and restricted all access. No one's allowed without his personal authorization.
Jetzt wird's interessant.
And they've taken over a section of the palace with just as much secrecy and security. I'm told it could be something they brought back from the mines. I've made inquiries, but everyone pretends it doesn't exist. I strongly suspect they're hiding something.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. But that's what concerns me. Whatever they're hiding, it can't be good.
How can we know?
I'd better see what's happening.
Do you think you can find out what they're hiding? I need to see proof of something before I can make my case to the Federation.
I can try, but even if I found it, I might not know what to make of it.
Take this. You can use it to capture whatever you find, and then send it to me.
Interessant.
Thank you. I will let you know what I find. And I look forward to our meeting again.
Ich hoffe mal, dass das genau das ist, was Spock sich
Sorry, I couldn't help but notice you were speaking with the Hotari this whole time. I figured in the interest of fairness, I should offer another perspective.
Of course.
Das ist
I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but these negotiations rely on the Federation's neutrality. As does any hope you might have for a supply of dilithium in the future. So, why you would choose to side with the Hotari escapes me. Without Lydian involvement, there is no dilithium trade. But clearly, you weren't aware.
We are and will remain completely neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution to this conflict.
As is ours. Of course, the question is, at what price? Major Salit Arminta, Special Attaché, Lydian Armed Forces. Pleasure to meet you, Commander.
Einer vom Militär. Schauen wir mal.
I have my issues with the Hotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive, once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
You sound skeptical.
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mines? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different
Jetzt wird's interessant. Was erzählen die?
They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives. That it was more than just the storm. That somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself. But that's what they said.
You said the Hotari were primitive.
Well, they are.
Except for the part about weaponizing ion storms.
If you'll excuse me, Commander Rydek.
Okay. Aber es ist tatsächlich interessant, was die erzählt haben. Irgendwie mit diesem Sturm. Das will mir so nicht aus dem Kopf. So, da ist zu. Da geht's nicht weiter. So, jetzt gibt noch ein bisschen Gas. Ja, schon sagen, was es ist. Ja, gut, dass man hier auch so ein bisschen laufen kann. Kann ich jetzt da auch mitmachen? Jungs?
Well, that was a disaster.
What happened?
The Hotari refused to concede anything, so the Illidians stormed out.
The Hotari did not invite us here as peacekeepers. I hope your efforts were more fruitful than ours.
Also Spock, glaube ich,
Gravitational harmonics failing to resolve. Warp bubble stability degrading. Increase output to maximum.
Increasing warp output to maximum.
It's happening again.
Warp failed.
It is evident that presently, the Resolute cannot achieve warp propulsion.
Since our diagnostics rule out any problems with our warp systems or anything about the ship, the problem appears to be the fabric of space itself.
Space itself? You're saying something about this region of space prevents warp travel?
Prevents it, or can't sustain it.
However improbable, that appears to be the case.
We need to know more.
The storm didn't stop us from leaving space dock and traveling here. But could it still be causing this interference with warp travel?
We must follow sound investigatory principles. Do not let an assumed conclusion drive your analysis.
Sometimes we need a little inspired thinking, Mr. Chovak. Captain Solano is on his way back from the negotiations, and I want to have some answers for him when he gets here.
Indeed. Given the facts at hand, we may be able to deploy subspace probes around the ship to construct a clear picture of the phenomenon.
Ah, das sind sie,
Around the
die
ship.
Sonden.
I'll prep a shuttle.
Wissenschaftliche Methode.
I'm setting up a waypoint at a distance roughly corresponding to the edge of our warp field. When we get there, I'll deploy the first probe.
Oh, jetzt müssen wir das Shuttle fliegen. Aber ich würde sagen, das ist ein Fall für die nächste Folge. Da werden wir mal einen Cut machen. Ja, bisher will ich immer wissen, wie es weitergeht. Ich finde, gut geschrieben, vom Technikingenieur, ja, passt so. Die Sache mit Spock und der Verhandlung ist so Star Trek. Das ist so schön. Die Musik finde ich gut. Also bisher überzeugt mich das. Schauen wir mal, ob es eine richtig gute Folge wird. Eine richtig gute Serienfolge. Ob es an den Kinofilm ranreicht. Mal schauen. Auf jeden Fall bisher überraschend positiv in Anbetracht der doch eher durchmischteren Bewertungen, die es erfahren hat bisher. Insofern bis zum nächsten Mal, wenn es wieder ist, The Bold to Go.